We're going to take a look at XRP here and a little bit of the rest of the market. I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit. There we go. Now you can see here on this chart, we talked about 74, 75,000 last time, right? Last video we did. If you go back there, we talked about that and said that was a crucial area to get through, right through here, right? Now we're working our way up there. Everything is held. At low down here at, what is it, 59.9 or something, has held. Let's call it 60,000, okay? Now, when we're coming up to here, you can see a major trend line coming. Expecting price to hit that, right? Right up here, we have a hit. We have a hit here, and I'm expecting another one down here. All right, that would bring it up towards that 74, 75, possibly. But I expect it to hit somewhere through here. Okay, now if we zoom in here a little bit closer, this is a 12-hour. Let's look at the RSI first on the daily. All right, come out here. I talked about these lows before, right? I don't know how long ago, a couple months ago, a month ago, whenever we came down here before we hit this bottom. All right, remember these arrows? Here's your top in 2017. Here's where we came back to retest. Okay, right here, that was your top. Ran up the bull run 2017, and it came back down here to retest this top. That proved to be a bottom. All right, all the technicals, if you look at all the technicals there, this was our top. Okay, I know price wise we had a higher high over here, but technically, if you look at the technicals, right here was your top of your monthly RSI. Came down here, obviously caught that one more high here, but right here was everything. That was the high of everything. Here's the top of the RSI over here, right here with your high. Okay, now we're coming back once again. Ran up in 2021, came back down, retested that top, and so far it's held. Okay, well, is it going to hold? I don't know. That's what we're going to hopefully find out here, right? We had bearish divergence. We had this high here on the RSI, and you had a lower high coming in right here. Right now you can see the RSI on the monthly is bullish, 3.5 and a 1.4 on the weekly. Bullish, heading up. All right, look down here at the bottom. Down at a 38 down here in the bottom. Do we have bullish divergence there? No. So you can see, man, the monthly and the weekly want to push up. Okay, and you guys watch the channel are familiar with Elliott waves. I talked about this before. Go back on the videos a couple months ago for Bitcoin. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Can it do a seventh wave? Yeah. Elliott waves sometimes do seventh waves. It could do that, and it could, if it does take out this low, or could it go? Well, if you take a measurement on here, pull this up, 50,000 bucks. All right, that would be the target, and that would give you another wave down. I personally, I don't know. Everybody's got their own opinion. Go ahead and stick to it or whatever. I think that it's a very good chance this was the low right over here. You got your monthly RSI heading up. You got your weekly RSI heading up. That's your big ones. You got a nice push here. All right, you got a nice high. We had a high come up to 76. Right, that was how high of a push was that off the bottom here? 26, 27%. Right, this one over here up being about 20%. Right, so we've had a nice bounce here off the bottom for sure. Nice bullish weekly green candle starting up here. As far as the fib goes, where are we at on this? All right, if you guys want to learn this stuff, how to use these tools, sign up for a level 3 membership. Come over and trade with us over in Discord. We leverage trade over there. We have a great crew over there. Man, I love it over there with it. We really do. We have a great crew. And and people in there every day posting trades. Really great traders. I love you guys. You guys know who you are. Talk to you every day. We'd love to have you. It's $15 if you want to come try it out. And also, I have a link for buy me a coffee in the description of the video. If you feel like it, that's cool. I'd appreciate that. I don't make barely anything on these videos. I don't got the big audience that other people has, right? I just enjoy doing them. I love being in the Discord, and if you do sign up for that, you also get 10 hours of videos to teach you how to draw trend lines, use Fibonacci, the Elliott waves, everything. All right. Now, if we look at this chart, look at that, boom, right on a 702. If you're familiar with the Fibonacci, 618 and 702 tend to be your areas. If you break through, more than likely you're heading higher. If you get rejected here, these are your areas. If you get rejected here, you're going lower, right? So this, where we're at now, is a crucial area, right through here. Has to get up through this box, okay, right there. We break up to 73. We start hitting 73. There's going to be a really good chance of breaking this trend line, right? And would not be everybody's saying down, right? Okay, everybody's bearish, calling for lower, $50,000. I wish I could pull up the leverage right now, see where it's at. Probably a lot of people going short, right? So that could be a little hint right there. They always tend to send you the other way, right? The other way. So we'll see what happens here. But we're gonna move this line up a little bit here. There you go. That's the one that we have to break through. If you get a higher high, and it will break this trend line, that would be huge. It breaks that, and who knows where this thing could go. If we just take a regular fib on here, where it could, I don't know. We'll see. Regular retracement up here. Let me tell you something. If it breaks this trend line, Bitcoin's going to run pretty hard. Okay, we haven't had really a retracement yet for the market, right? If we come off this high, I mean, it's been all bearish. It's been down. We've had our little bumps, right? It's a bear market. That's expected. Call me crazy, say what you want, right? But a retracement could be anywhere up through here. 93 to 106. If it breaks through this trend line, all right, and we'll see what happens. Quite honestly, I think it's gonna. I really do. That's just my opinion. Whatever. Take it as a grain of salt. It's not financial advice, nothing like that. But I think it's got a really good chance. We come in on the daily. Let's take a look at this. All right. So there's that box, right? That's what we need to break through. There's your 618-702. It needs to get up through this area. I'm going to move this up on here because that was the high. Okay, needs to break up through there. Starts breaking 73,000, and look out. Then it's coming up towards this trend line, and if it breaks, and what do we got here? We got some really nice waves starting here, right through here. The Elliott waves, you can see them. They look great. You have an A, B, C right there. And this looks like, to me, looks like a 1-2. Looks like this is starting up through here. This fifth wave, the inside here, maybe it comes up, it gets projected, pulls back, and slams through. And right inside here, you have 5 waves. These waves are looking pretty nice, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And if this fifth wave will finish, possibly this third wave up. We'll see how it plays out, but it's looking pretty decent, honestly. All right, the daily RSI getting right at the top. Okay, right, but it can stay up there. That's nothing, you know. It was at the top over through here. You can see, it was all this chop in here. That's basically all we're in right now. This is all chop through here. Right here, it starts making waves, but then it fails, so who knows? Who knows what's going to happen here? We zoom in a little bit closer. I want to show you this setup that's going on here, the 12-hour. Look at them Elliott waves, man. They possible, right? Possible setup in here. You could also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. Now it's doing an ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4 rejection, 5 breakthrough. We'll see what happens. 12-hour bearish. It's pulling back. We zoom in a little bit closer here on the 1 hour. We have the trend line up here. We got in a long over there in Discord. Had to stop it out. Ended up breaking this trend line coming down through here, right? Could be a fake out. Could end up running right back up through. The biggest reason I say that, if you come up here, right, there's that 7-618, 702 through here, right? That's what it's got to break. If you come up through here and put a fib on here, the retracements, there's nothing that's telling you anything, right? Look at this. Well, we got a 618 here, but that's after pulling that down. If you put this back over here, right, when we got to that price, whoops, there you go, we were at a 50% retracement, right? Then this candle here is what pulled it down. We do have a 618 up here. Could it do an ABC down through here? Yeah, I guess. Be kind of odd. The reason I say that, normally to form the ABC, you want price action to do something like this here. Now, where's my pad? Where's my here we go. Something like this, right? You want your A wave down, right? Your B wave to come up to your 618 right here, price action, and then your C wave down. All right, now what we got right here, like I said, if you pull this back over, there's your price action right here. Okay, these are the candles that are on the 618 when we pull it down, right? So there's your red candle here. Okay, then this candle drops down. All right, now it looks like it got rejected up here at 618. Could that end up playing out? Yeah, it could. Where would that put this at? If we pull it down on top, roughly 70,000. Would that violate anything here? No. That would be right about to the top of wave, possibly wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it does pull down there, if we take the measurement off that, that's how you take your measurement for ABCs. Where it came to the 618 or 702, you take your top and put it down on it. Usually works out pretty good. This could end up being a fake out. Look at this 1 hour RSI right on the bottom now. 30-minute. It broke back up in here. It could. That's what it does. That's exactly what it does. The market, if you don't, that's how they get you, right? As soon as that trend line broke, I guarantee it, thousands of people went short. Okay, now what are they going to do? May probably push it back up here. I wouldn't doubt that for a second. Where would that put this? Right up at the trend line, 73,986. Right up towards there. As long as it holds 70,700, it's still in this box and can make a run up here. Definitely, right? Now 30-minute, now you see this one up here, double topped kind of, and then started rolling over. So we'll see what happens here, right? You could ABC that here, like I said. If it does, the only way I can even see an ABC pattern in here is to go in on a 1 hour. Maybe you could use this AB C down to just about 70,000 on the dot, and then back up. That could happen here. Let's take a measurement right here once. I'm going to see something. you're going to get your ABC right here. There you go. That's looking maybe more like it right here. Right, A, B, maybe C here. Where would that pull it to? 70,300. Right around there. Right. So if it takes out this low, 70,000. Let's get on there right. 70,700. Okay. If it takes that low out, I'll be looking for a bounce somewhere around 70,300 area, right around there. All right, so definitely keep an eye on this. If this ends up rolling over and everything falls out and then it pushes down, it's heading to 50,000. Okay, that's what's going to happen if it fails. All right, if it makes it up here, gets through that trend line. This thing could make a really nice run. Let's go over here and take a look at the XRP here. Look at the crypto bubbles a minute, see what's going on. If you would hit that like and subscribe, I would appreciate that so much, guys. Start doing videos a lot more often now. Now the market's starting to look like it's bottoming out. A lot of stuff is, if we come out here for the year. Wow, look at that siren. Man, I looked at that the other day. I absolutely nailed the bottom on that on my chart. That was unbelievable. Yeah, let me show you. Just real quick. All right. I'm on these charts like all day, guys. Do I get stuff wrong? Absolutely, all the time. That's just the way it goes. Siren. Let me show you this chart. Silver, $74. My buddy has a pile of it. If we come out on the 12-hour, yeah, look at this. I nailed it right here, right there. I had a target of 0.066. Came down to right about 12. It looks like. Yeah, right around there. Right, but what happened here? Right up here. It was right off this. This thing wicked around a lot, right? But inside here, you had an ABC correction, and I was mapping this out. And I left it down there like that, but yeah, so right around 6 cents. I had it there. Just barely missed it, but I was gonna put it out in Discord, but I didn't want to take the chance because look at this. I mean, it was up at $1.73. You know what I mean? If I was holding this, I would have dumped it for sure after looking at the chart. But this roll off here was unbelievable. I mean, up here it was at $1.85, the whole way down to 12 cents. Within 2 days. So that was a hell of a dump on that siren. Pretty crazy. And it's still up 13x for the year. That's crazy. Zcash for the year. That's awesome. Up 800%. Coca 700%. Yet I think stuff is starting to bottom out. My last video out there, I said it's looking like a good time to maybe start loading my bags up or something. I believe a bottom. We'll see what happens, but I truly think a lot of this stuff has come to a bottom. Right here on XRP. Another one we took here, entry here at $1.34, stop loss at $1.33 on a long right over here. It started up and ended up getting out of it here too on XRP. You can see the trend line right up through here. At least made a couple bucks on it. Got out up here as soon as that break happened here. It's coming back up and retesting now, and it looks like it's probably gonna push down here. All right, let's take a look at this chart. Yeah, made a hell of a run here too. We got. I think it was maybe over here. We took that long up there, looking for possibly up You know, if Bitcoin breaks that resistance, everything else is going to run, right? If we come out on a weekly here, put that box in here on this thing at 786, I really, really, truly think that is a bottom. I would be super, super shocked if XRP broke through that and went lower. I think that would be crazy, right? Off a fib, that would be nuts. Even if we go over here to this bottom, where that's where I should have been. I apologize, but still, it's at a 786. You know, that would be insane for it to break down through there. I don't believe it's going to do that. All right, we have a trend line up above here. Same deal with Bitcoin, right? If it comes up to this trend line and breaks it, let's get this box off here. All right, we're gonna put real quick here, bottom. Yeah, my opinion. That's just my opinion. My chart, you know, don't do things on what I say, you know, do your own research and stuff like that. All right, now out on a weekly, you can see here, let's get this off here, get this fib off here. You can see this trend line coming out through here, right? Gotta move it out a little bit, looks like. When you change, like it with them, when you went on tighter time frames, then you gotta readjust it again. You'll learn that if you're new to chart, and just keep an eye when you go to the smaller time frames, you'll have to adjust it again, right? But right out here, you know, I really think XRP is going to make a run at this. You know, once again with the Elliott waves, you know, oops, right over here. You know, if you know how to count Elliott waves, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5 coming down, 786 pullback, right? Down to here. You know, it could have pushed down a little bit more, maybe. You know, you got a support here at $1.05, right? Down here at $1.05. If Bitcoin heads down to 50, I don't think it. Just my opinion. I just don't. I can't see that happening. All right, weekly RSI. Look at this thing. It's turning up down here on the bottom, 33 and a 34. It's ready to, looks like it's ready to take out that moving average there. This looks like it's ready to flip up. The monthly, look at that, 0.12 and a 0.04, dead flat on the bottom. All right, you got your daily heading up. Okay. It's heading up through here. Now, let's take a look here. Okay, right over here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like you got your 5 waves down. Maybe an ABC here. Let's put a fib on here and see if we can figure what happened here. All right. Still has not taken out this low over here at what is that? Oops, XRP. Oh, okay, that was an alarm on that for it coming down through here. But it had $1.27 here. All right, it's still held that low. Okay, down here is the other, I believe, a possible bottom here at about $1.11. Now, what I'm gonna want to see here, you got your daily RSI heading up. Let's move in a little bit tighter. 12-hour is heading up. Okay, I'm just trying to see a wave count through here, Elliott wave wise. Let's go on the 4-hour. 4 hours rolling over here. Let's get that line off here. Alright, it took out this trend line here that we had down through here. Right, of course that you had that in a couple spots down through here. Down through this area. Get that on there where it was supposed to be. Yeah, right down through there. You could see the break, the retest, started up, failed, you know, went sideways. Now we're starting up again. We made a higher high here on the 4-hour, right? We had this high right here, this low. I got my pointer. A little bit easier to do it that way. All right, had this high, this low, higher high. So now we'll see if we get a higher low in here. Start chugging to the upside. Now we come in here a little bit tighter. Bitcoin crossing 71,000. Okay, that's why XRP is coming down here, obviously. Now, what we're going to want to pay attention to here with this is this area when this comes down here. Right here, right through here, $1.32. It's coming in that area now. $1.33 to $1.31, 32.47, right in there. We come in on the 1 hour. Let's take a look here. What we got going on. Okay, looks like a wave down. What's the target for that? Right to that 702 roughly. Right, $32.35. I'm glad this is doing it now. I wish it would come down so I could show you how good this thing works. $32.29. Okay, that's a 1 hour. Do we have a wave count? Is this a fifth wave though? Right, it's going to 15 minute. The charts are not that good looking. You're seeing Bitcoin's there. You know how hard the top was on that to figure out. If you take XRP here, now look at this thing. There you got a 702. See, that's a lot better right there. Came up to a 702. Did an ABC. We just about ABC. It did ABC. You had a wick down through here, but you can see how it pulled back up from there, right? You got about started down. You had this high, now lower high, lower high. If you go in here, now you definitely got a lower. I mean, that thing's, yeah, definitely got a lower low now. It takes out this one over here too. And it looks like it's gonna, here on the 15. Now that target we had, let's put it on here, because it's probably going to come down here now. Right? You got that low and a higher low. If you get a higher low in here, you're going to might have bullish divergence. I don't know if you're going to or not, though. Looking for a target down here, right about $1.33, $1.34, right down in that range, right in that 618,702. We'll see if we get a bounce there. Let's get a box on here. All right, right down through here. That's your 618,702. Right, I think that's where it's probably heading. Be looking, at this high, the higher high in the RSI, lower high on price, bearish divergence there, right? That's when that's starting to roll over a little bit here. The key is it going to catch right here, right, and then start back up. We'll see what happens with that. And you can see, once again, I talk about these Elliott waves, man, but if you learn how to use them, you'll see them all the time. Look, 1, 2, this, so you could do it like, well, that violated here, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you could look at it like that, but you had 5 waves right up through here, 1, 2. Helps you with your trading. You kind of have an idea if it's going to go higher and stuff when it makes nice waves like that. And then on the way down, you can see it over here. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got 5 waves down right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, sign up for that level 3 membership, man. The $15 just watching the videos and learning how to use these tools is worth it. You know, you don't know how to trade. That's you got this low here, higher low over here. Just trying to see what the RSI is printing out here. This is the 15-minute, right? That low there. Yeah, the low is definitely higher over there, okay? But you had bullish divergence down here. Look at this. Let me show you this. Pull this up. Alright? Right here, you had this low. Right there on the RSI. Then when it came the whole way down here, you end up having a higher low. Higher, right here. Higher low. Higher low. Higher low. Higher low. On price. Lower low. Lower low. Lower low. Bullish divergence. If you seen that, you knew, you know, it gave you a really good clue. And look what happened. Right up like that. And if you trade bullish divergence on these charts, it works out pretty well. You know, this is your regular RSI, not the one I'm using up here, the stochastic. Right over here, you have this low, you had a higher low come in there, but that's how it was on price. I'm curious, you know, if this is going to print a higher low when it comes down here in a 15-minute, when it gets down into this range. I'm curious, you know, if it's going to make a run back up to the upside. Well, now, what I'm looking for in here, you know, as I'm zooming in, I'm looking for wave counts, right? I'm looking for like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and this being the 5th wave. But I'm really not seeing that. Now, typically a wave is 382 on a fib. You know, what do we got here? Pretty close. We're going to 15-minute. Very close. Normally it'll stop right on that 382, and I mean right on it. You know, or the closes will be right on it. The 30-minute. See, it closed above that 382. That's what makes me wonder. You know, we're going to put a price target here. I think it's going to catch right in here, and then I think after that, personally, I think this thing's going to bounce to the upside, right? A lot of bears out there, you know, thinking everything's going to crash. You know, I'm seeing, you know, if I look at this chart, right, I see the monthly RSI at the bottom. I see the weekly RSI at the bottom. On a 4-hour, I see this high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low. That's, you know, bullish, upside. Now, if this thing ends up taking out this low down here at $1.30, you know, then that turns out to be bearish, right? But it has all this room here to print a higher low, right? You got this high, this low, a higher high, a higher low. And what you're looking for is a higher high to come in here after, if this thing bottoms here. Now, what if this all falls apart? What if XRP heads downwards and Bitcoin hits to 50,000? You know, let's take a look. Where would this put XRP price potentially, right? You would, you know, this would do another shot to the downside. That would be, that's too much, right? I mean, that would put 81 cents. You know, could you see that coming in? 81. Let's go on to weekly. You know, possible, right? Anything is possible. You know, as far as down at 81, you know, where would that put that on a fib? Especially XRP with the huge market cap it has, all the holders it has. You know, that would be like Bitcoin going down through here and down to here. That's 83 on the Fibonacci, right? You know, let me just show you. I just think I don't believe that's gonna happen. I mean, that's just my opinion, though. You know, a lot of people out there calling for 50. We go into Bitcoin and come out on a weekly. go on to monthly. Alright. Pull this down. You know, right here you had Bitcoin pull down to, for a low, to the high, right to the 786. Wow. Tell me that wouldn't have been a beautiful entry, right? You see it pulling down here month after month, and then it just hits that 786. Remember what I told you, if you can get a token out of 786, look what happened. Bam, to the upside. That 786, especially on Bitcoin, look at how perfect it nailed it. Absolutely perfect. Man, oh man, that would have been a hell of a run, right? Imagine getting this on leverage. What is that? Let's see. Wow, like 700% on a 10x that you're. Wow, that's like a 70x, 70 times your money, or something like that. Now, if we take a look here, you know, we go up here, where how deep has Bitcoin come, right? Off the bottom. Let's see. Let's just get it. Where are we at? Well, getting close to a 618, right? Haven't got there. Could it come down to 50? Yeah. I mean, you got your 702 down here. You got all this room down here. It could, for sure. No question about it. Yeah, it absolutely could. Will it? You know, maybe it makes a run back up for a B wave and then a C wave to the downside. Maybe. You know, I just, there's no retracement in here at all. How many red months? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 red in a row. We're starting our second green. All of the, you know, all them are the monthly, the weekly. This Bitcoin weekly heading to the upside. You know, like I said, that big trend line. If it gets rejected off of it and then starts rolling over, you know, then we're gonna know. Wait, on this one here, look at that. Let's go down to daily. This is Bitstamps chart. Open this up. All these chart, they're all pretty close to the same, right? Let's take a look. That's there. That is there. That still looks about the same, huh? You got it on there, got it on here. That just has to make a run over there. Trend line, see how it ended up violating that. And then you come down and match that up. It's going to make a pretty decent move here pretty soon. Look at this wedge, right? You know, take the measurement of your wedge. That usually gives you your target. You know, so we'll see what happens here. But it definitely could, I guess, pull down a little bit more. You know, I just think we need some upside here, right? I just believe that it's going to make take a run at some upside. Let's get on here. And if XRP 80 cents, that's crazy, right? 81 cents. Hasn't been there for a while, you know, but technically it has not come down here and touched this 618 yet. You know, like I said, a lot of people out there calling for 50. You know, 58 would be 618. 702's at 48.8. Going on a weekly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just see 5 waves down. Now, could I, you know, maybe something along these lines here. You know, a B wave, and a C wave down. Maybe something like that. You know, you bring some money back into the market here, drag some people in. Everybody's bullish, head to the upside, and then it pulls down. Maybe something like that. You know, we'll see. We'll see what happens here, right? But XRP, man, oh man, that thing is right in the sweet spot. You know, look at that. Came down to almost a 786. Right now it's on a 702. You know, just, you know, want to see some upside out of this thing. So we'll see what happens here. Like I said, you know, Bitcoin ends up coming down and breaking that. Look for around 50,000. XRP holds here and starts running up. You know, let's get a target off this. Let's see. Has to hold that, what is it, $1.27? Has to hold that, right? It starts getting up here to $1.51, $1.55. It breaks through there, and boy, it could make a run, right? Or if it comes back up here and gets rejected at $1.55, maybe you could possibly get a big A, B, C here, and that would pull it down some more. But we'll see. Right now, that bottom has been holding down here about $1.12. It has held up. We got the RSIs, the big ones, heading to the upside, right? Got your daily here, your monthly and your weekly look great. Come in here, so we'll see what happens, guys, right? A lot of this has to do, a lot of news stuff going on and stuff like that. I look at the charts, I don't watch, I watch the news, of course, like everybody else, but I just, I don't let it affect my my trading, what I'm looking at on the charts too much, unless it's a big thing, big meeting or something, where they're announcing rates or something like that, and I pay attention. But got a lot of room up in here yet, to play with, and I think we're going to make a run at that, right? $1.60 maybe. Maybe it comes over this way some more and comes up to $1.50. We have a lot of room up here, got one hit, two hit, looking for a third hit, and if it breaks through, could make a run here a little bit. We'll see what happens. Thank you so much, guys. I love you. Please hit that like and subscribe. Consider buying me a coffee or joining up for that level 3 membership. Much appreciated. Have a great night, everybody.